He doesn't repeat his power, he refines it. While the world scrambles for attention, validation, and recognition, the Sigma male operates in silence. His presence barely noticed, yet his impact unmistakable. He doesn't broadcast his moves because he knows true strength doesn't need a spotlight. Instead of showing off, he sharpens his edge, daily, silently, methodically. In the realm of personal development, Sigma males embody the psychological concept of deliberate practice, a scientifically backed method used by elite performers to improve mastery through focused, repetitive effort. He's not grinding for applause. He's building internal resilience and mental clarity. Studies in behavioral science show that individuals who embrace solitude and intrinsic motivation often outperform those driven by external approval. That's the Sigma in action. You don't see him coming because he's not broadcasting his climb. He's busy refining the blueprint. And by the time you notice, he's already executed the next move. This video isn't for the average man, the crowd pleaser, or the trend follower. It's for the lone wolf, the man whose silence is louder than 1,000 voices, whose discipline is a fortress. He doesn't chase popularity or mimic culture. He builds character through invisible routines. Repetition is his ritual. Focus is his fuel. His habits may look ordinary, but underneath lies a tactical system for personal dominance, rooted in self-control, strategic detachment, and mental discipline. He's not chasing wins to compete with others. He's busy conquering himself. The Sigma male is a living paradox, highly capable but disinterested in validation, highly present yet seemingly distant, and that makes him unshakable. Today we're going deep into the core of his mindset, unpacking the 8 unstoppable habits that forge his inner command. These aren't flashy or performative. They are refined, calculated, and powerful tools that turn an average man into an exceptional one. This isn't about impressing the world. It's about mastering your own. Let's begin. Number 1, tactical mindfulness. The Sigma male is hyper-aware, but not hyperactive. There's a significant difference. Unlike the average person who gets pulled in 100 directions by social media, opinions, gossip, and emotional impulses, the Sigma male practices what can only be described as tactical mindfulness. This isn't about sitting cross-legged in a mountain cave humming to the universe. No, this is mental warfare. Tactical mindfulness is the deliberate discipline of knowing deserves your attention and deserves to be ignored. It's not about zoning out. It's about zoning on what actually matters. The Sigma doesn't allow his mental space to become a dumping ground for emotional clutter or useless distractions. Instead, he filters every thought like a sniper watching through a scope. Steady, selective, precise. If a thought or emotion enters his mind, it doesn't get an automatic reaction. It gets observed, evaluated, and either redirected or discarded. This level of discipline comes from understanding how the brain works. Neuroscience shows that the prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for decision-making and focus, is easily hijacked by constant stimulation. But Sigmas are wired differently. They train themselves to resist this hijacking by consciously limiting exposure to unnecessary input. That means turning off the noise, setting boundaries with toxic people, and even ignoring inner dialogue that doesn't serve a purpose. This self-awareness creates a calm, unshakable mental state. In a world that rewards reaction, the Sigma rewards reflection. When chaos breaks out, he's not the one panicking, he's the one assessing. When distractions flood the room, he narrows his focus even more. This doesn't mean he's emotionless, it means he's emotionally intelligent. He's not cold, he's calculated. And this makes him nearly impossible to manipulate. People can't guilt-trip him, push his buttons, or steer him with drama. Why? Because he's already spotted the game. He's already decided whether it's worth his energy. That's what tactical mindfulness gives him, the ability to choose his mental battles wisely. In a sense, the Sigma male operates like a stoic strategist in a noisy battlefield, watching, waiting, and only acting when it truly matters. It's not laziness, it's mastery. And while the rest of the world is spinning in emotional circles, the Sigma stands firm, hyper-aware of the storm, but never swept away by it. Number 2, minimalism as a weapon. To most people, minimalism is just a style, clean lines, neutral tones, and tidy spaces that look good on social media. But for the Sigma male, minimalism goes far deeper. It's not about aesthetics, it's about efficiency. It's a conscious strategy designed to eliminate distractions and amplify focus. His minimalist life is not the result of lacking resources or ambition, it's the result of surgical selection. He doesn't fill his closet with clothes he'll never wear or his schedule with events that drain his energy. He curates his environment, his commitments, and even his social circle with ruthless precision. Everything in his world exists to serve a purpose. If it doesn't serve, it doesn't stay. This stripped-down approach is more than personal preference, it's backed by cognitive science. Studies show that cluttered environments increase stress levels and reduce productivity. The Sigma male intuitively understands this. A minimalist lifestyle frees his mental bandwidth for what truly matters: creation, strategy, and freedom. His space is clean because his mind is clear. He doesn't need to be surrounded by symbols of status or abundance to feel powerful. He knows real strength lies in control. And nothing says control like being intentional about what enters your life. By owning fewer things, he has fewer worries. By talking less, he understands more. By staying under the radar, he can move without resistance. This isn't isolation, it's insulation. His silence protects him. His simplicity empowers him. While the rest of the world is busy broadcasting their lives, chasing trends, and collecting clutter, physical, emotional, and digital, the Sigma male is somewhere quiet, listening, observing, planning. The loud world misses the subtleties. The Sigma doesn't. In the stillness of his lifestyle, he picks up on what others overlook: opportunities, intentions, and patterns. Minimalism for him is armor. It shields him from noise, nonsense, and needless obligations. It grants him time, focus, and freedom, resources far more valuable than material possessions. He's not trying to impress, he's trying to progress. And ironically, by removing the excess, he gains the ultimate luxury: clarity. His life isn't empty, it's razor sharp. Every object, word, and action has weight. To the world, it may seem like he's holding back. In truth, he's holding power, quietly, strategically, and on his own terms. Number 3, deep work over shallow motion. While others glorify hustle, the Sigma male seeks depth. In a world that idolizes grinding 24/7, Sigma males quietly rebel, not by being lazy, but by being focused. He doesn't mistake being busy for being productive. Instead, he invests in what Cal Newport famously called deep work, the ability to focus without distraction on cognitively demanding tasks. Unlike the masses who are trapped in endless cycles of checking emails, responding to pings, and doom scrolling on social media, the Sigma operates in what neuroscientists call a flow state. This is where the brain hits peak performance, no interruptions, no dopamine chasing, just full immersion. Research shows that multitasking reduces productivity by up to 40%, yet society still clings to it like a badge of honor. The Sigma knows better. His routine is built around cognitive solitude, extended periods of intentional silence where he can think, build, and execute without being pulled in 1,000 directions. From the outside, his progress may seem slow, even invisible. He's not constantly updating his followers or flaunting productivity hacks. But underneath, his work is surgical, precise, layered, and cumulative. Like a master sculptor chiseling away at marble, every session of deep focus removes what's unnecessary and reveals something timeless. While others chase quantity, more meetings, more posts, more noise, the Sigma chases quality. It's not about how many hours he puts in, it's about what those hours produce. 1 hour of uninterrupted deep work can be more valuable than an entire day of distracted busyness. He creates systems, not chaos. He builds leverage, not burnout. He doesn't need to prove he's working because the results, when they come, are undeniable. This is why Sigma males are often underestimated until suddenly they're years ahead. Their secret isn't speed, it's direction. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters, deeply, deliberately, and without distraction. Number 4, mastery through repetition. The Sigma male doesn't chase novelty. He worships repetition. In a world obsessed with shortcuts, dopamine hits, and the next big thing, the Sigma walks a different path, one paved with discipline, monotony, and mastery. While others jump from one trend to another, seeking excitement and instant gratification, the Sigma drills the same movements, thoughts, and actions over and over again until they vanish into muscle memory. This isn't a lack of creativity, it's the pursuit of precision. Psychology and neuroscience back this up. Studies show that repetition strengthens neural pathways, allowing actions and thoughts to become automatic and more efficient over time. This is how elite performers, whether athletes, musicians, or thinkers, achieve excellence. They don't rely on motivation or mood, they rely on habits. Bruce Lee once said, "I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times." That's the Sigma's philosophy in a sentence. He knows that true excellence is boring. It's not flashy. It's the same action, repeated until it becomes a razor's edge. Even the most creative geniuses, from Leonardo da Vinci to Kobe Bryant, understood that greatness isn't found in bursts of inspiration, but in the quiet grind, daily, unrelenting, ritualistic. The Sigma doesn't chase new tools or distractions because he understands that mastery comes from depth, not width. He knows that repetition is how instinct is built, and instinct is how legends are made. While others burn out chasing novelty, the Sigma burns deeper, forging something timeless in the fire of repetition. Talent might give someone a head start, but repetition decides who finishes the race. That's why the Sigma rises, not because he was born gifted, but because he kept showing up. He refines the same power again and again until it becomes invisible, until it becomes him. Number 5, emotional control as power. While others explode, the Sigma absorbs. In a world addicted to instant reactions and emotional outbursts, the Sigma male remains still, centered, and deeply aware. He feels everything, yes, the rage, the doubt, the longing, but he doesn't leak. His emotional control is not a byproduct of repression or apathy, it's the result of deliberate training. Many mislabel this as coldness, as if his silence signals a lack of feeling. But in reality, it's the opposite. He feels more than most. He just doesn't let those feelings run the show. Instead of becoming a puppet to his emotions, he studies them, understanding where they come from, how they work, and what they're trying to signal. This is emotional intelligence in its rawest form, not the sanitized version taught in corporate workshops, but the battlefield-tested awareness that separates leaders from followers. A Sigma doesn't let anger drive him into reckless decisions. He lets it sharpen his clarity, but never his tongue. He doesn't allow fear to stall his momentum. It becomes fuel, not a chain. And while desire can blind most men, for the Sigma, it becomes a challenge to master, not an urge to indulge blindly. Modern psychology supports this kind of self-regulation. Studies in emotional intelligence by researchers like Daniel Goleman show that those who can understand and manage their emotional responses tend to perform better in leadership roles, relationships, and crisis situations. This is where the Sigma thrives, not because he denies emotion, but because he has power over it. This habit of feeling deeply but choosing his response deliberately is what makes the Sigma dangerous, not in a violent way, but in an unpredictable, high-level chess player way. People expect reactions. The Sigma gives them silence. They push for buttons to press. He shows none. While others are emotionally hijacked by the moment, the Sigma remains anchored. His stoic demeanor isn't a mask. It's his real face, forged by experiences that taught him to stop leaking energy into the void. And that's the threat. Not that he feels nothing, but that he feels everything. Dissects it like a strategist and acts only when it serves a higher purpose. That's not coldness, that's control. Number 6, strategic disappearance. One of the Sigma male's most misunderstood behaviors is his sudden tendency to vanish without explanation. To many it seems cold, distant, or emotionally detached. But for the Sigma, this disappearance isn't about running away from people. It's a tactical withdrawal from the chaos of external noise. He retreats not because he's overwhelmed, but because he's recalibrating. Just like an elite operative who vanishes to regroup and re-strategize, the Sigma uses solitude to sharpen his mind, reset his instincts, and protect his vision from the constant bombardment of distractions and emotional interference. In psychology, this aligns with the concept of the idea that our brains have a limited capacity for processing information. Social interactions, no matter how minor, consume energy. The Sigma knows this intuitively. By stepping back into silence, he creates space for deep reflection, uninterrupted focus, and personal growth. Neuroscience even supports this. Studies show that periods of solitude enhance creativity, boost memory consolidation, and activate the brain's default mode network, responsible for introspection and future planning. When the Sigma male ghosts, he's not ghosting people out of spite. He's ghosting the mindless small talk, the social expectations, and the uninvited opinions that clutter his path. In a world obsessed with constant visibility, he recognizes that presence can be draining and that too much exposure weakens clarity. His disappearance, then, is not a form of emotional immaturity, but a form of psychological self-preservation. It is a discipline, a power move. His silence isn't absence, it's presence in another form, and while others interpret his detachment as a flaw, the Sigma sees it as evolution. He's not escaping, he's elevating in stealth mode. This habit of vanishing is his way of staying in control, preserving energy and aligning himself with a higher sense of purpose. Because sometimes the best way to stay true to who you are is to disappear just long enough to return with more focus, more clarity, and more force than before. Number 7, information over opinion. The Sigma male moves through the world with a quiet force that baffles those addicted to noise. While most are quick to speak, eager to react, and desperate to be heard, the Sigma does something radically different. He waits. He doesn't speak unless there's value in his words. And that's not because he's shy or unsure. It's because he respects the power of language. In a society where words are used carelessly and opinions are hurled like weapons, the Sigma treats communication like a craft. He knows that silence, when used wisely, is more commanding than the loudest voice in the room. He doesn't argue for the sake of being right. Instead, he observes. He watches people, patterns, and behaviors. He dissects headlines, questions the motives behind them, and follows the trail of information far beyond what's trending. The Sigma is a student of reality, while others form their beliefs based on tribe, emotion, or ideology. The Sigma seeks facts. Studies show that people are more likely to believe emotionally charged falsehoods than objective truths, a phenomenon psychologists call the illusory truth effect. But the Sigma resists that trap. He chooses information over opinion, logic over emotion, and truth over tribal loyalty. He's the kind of man who would rather spend an hour reading a well-researched book than debating someone who hasn't questioned their own beliefs in years. And when he listens, it's not just to respond, it's to understand. He sees listening as a tool to learn, not a pause before counterattack. That's why when a Sigma finally speaks, it's like a spotlight turning on in a dark room. People notice, they lean in. His words carry weight because they've been distilled through thought, reflection, and intention. They're not off the cuff or driven by ego, they're deliberate. In a world full of chatter, the Sigma's voice cuts through because it isn't competing for attention. It commands it. He's proof that silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. In an age ruled by reaction, he remains grounded, calm, and informed. And that makes him dangerous in the best possible way, because when a man like that finally speaks, people don't just listen, they. Number 8, self-initiated evolution. The final habit of the Sigma male isn't really a habit at all, it's a guiding principle. He lives by a code of constant evolution, not because society demands it or because some motivational speaker told him to, but because he expects it of himself. While many people wait until a life crisis, like a breakup, financial loss, or health scare, to reevaluate and grow, the Sigma male operates differently. He doesn't need to hit rock bottom to start climbing. Instead, he actively studies his blind spots, his flaws, and his patterns before they sabotage him. Psychologists refer to this kind of self-directed growth as a cognitive process that allows someone to manage their behavior and adapt to changing environments. But for the Sigma, it goes beyond a psychological concept, it's a lifestyle. He treats each version of himself as a draft, not a final copy. He's not married to one identity or persona. He doesn't cling to who he was a year ago. He doesn't say, that's just how I am. Instead, he's addicted to improvement, always hunting for what needs to be refined. While others chase comfort, routine, and social approval, the Sigma male seeks challenge, change, and clarity. When others plateau and settle, he shifts. This ability to stay in motion, to adapt, and to intentionally shed old skins is what makes the Sigma a quiet force. In evolutionary terms, adaptability is survival. In the Sigma's world, it's not just survival, it's dominance. He keeps climbing long after others give up, not because he has something to prove, but because rising is the only direction he knows. This isn't motivation, this is identity, forged through discipline, and that's what makes him unstoppable. The Sigma male isn't some fantasy dreamed up by online forums or social media trends. He's a real, evolving archetype, a man who walks a solitary path with purpose, not out of rebellion, but out of alignment with something deeper. Unlike alpha males who dominate through presence or betas who follow to feel safe, the Sigma carves his own lane, often mastering life's subtleties that most overlook. He doesn't chase validation, popularity, or comparison. His competition is the man he was yesterday. He's not trying to be above anyone. He's too engrossed in becoming the most refined, self-possessed version of himself. This isn't a character act. It's a lifestyle rooted in autonomy, introspection, and emotional control. If you've ever felt the weight of silence more powerful than the loudest voice in the room, if you find peace in solitude and discomfort in shallow social noise, you may already be living by Sigma habits without even knowing it. And here's the truth. You don't need to overhaul who you are. You need to polish what's already within. Society often tries to mold men into predictable roles. But Sigma men aren't here to play a role. They're here to build legacies in silence, to shape influence without shouting, and to prove that masculinity doesn't need a spotlight to be powerful. In a world addicted to attention, the Sigma stays elusive, yet magnetic. The future doesn't belong to the loudest. It belongs to those who understand when to speak, when to act, and when to disappear. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs more men of quiet power, more thoughtful builders, more refined warriors. It needs more Sigma. Stay curious, stay deliberate, stay Sigma.